2024 has been a hellish year for Ubisoft. Skull and Bones was a quadruple A failure. X Defiant wasn't the COD killer they expected it to be. Star Wars Outlaws severely underperformed, and then they had to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows. And there has been a lot of rumor and speculation surrounding this game. And now we're hearing an executive say the devs think it's the worst thing they've ever seen. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, my expectations for Assassin's Creed Shadows are in the gutter at this point. I do not think that they are going to create a really cohesive product here. And that's just based on the initial teasers and trailers that we've seen with the hip hop music in the background, all of the inaccurate architecture, and general look of the game feels off. I mean, maybe once I play it, my opinion will change, but so far things have not seemed to be all that positive. And of course, gamers have ratioed anything having to do with this title, and now we're hearing even worse news. This is a Fandom Pulse article. It says Ubisoft's executive producer for its Assassin's Creed franchise shared that a number of the developers on the game believe the game is the worst thing they've ever seen. I think it's hilarious to hear people who are creating the game saying it's hopeless and it's a disaster. Like, it is your fault this game is bad. So during a Q&A portion of an interview, he revealed that many of the people working at Ubisoft and on the franchise have no experience with the franchise. This is so infuriating on so many levels because there are so many talented individuals out there who know the franchise, who love it, and who are just really good game developers. And I am all for giving people as many opportunities as possible, getting new faces into a company, getting new people into a franchise, giving people who are new at the job and in the industry a chance to work on something that could be career defining. But on the flip side, you have to have established people who have a track record of being amazing, and it seems that that's not the direction they went in with Shadows. He said, one of the things that I've noticed since the pandemic is that we have a lot of juniors in our team. Probably half of the team that's building Assassin's Creed is building a game for the first time. You would think for a franchise this important, such a moneymaker, that maybe like 15% of the staff would be juniors, people who are inexperienced, not the majority of them. That is insane to hear. It seems like the management has no clue what they're doing, and they probably just wanted to hire people who are inexperienced because it's cheaper. It's like with Rings of Power. We know that Peter Jackson wanted to be a part of Rings of Power, but first of all, he knows this franchise, so he's going to have an input, he's going to be very opinionated, and they would have had to have spent a lot of money on him. But in my opinion, he's worth every penny. It's worth it to have people who are established to help lead your game or your movie or TV show in a positive direction. And we saw how Rings of Power went bonkers off the rails, and it seems that exact thing is happening with Assassin's Creed Shadows. You have people who are alleged historians who know nothing about the history of Yasuke or the female, warriors during this time, the Onimusha. You, of course, have the inaccurate architecture. Some of it's even Chinese, which is crazy. You have the hip-hop music. Of course, they are changing the reenactment groups banners that were put into the game, but they're not removing them from the art book. Like, they can claim all they want. They care about history. They clearly don't. They can claim that they are trying to create a new title that is, reflective of what modern gamers want. That's not the case. We just want good entertainment. It doesn't matter if that's a game from 20 years ago. If it's a game that's being made now, we will always gravitate towards what seems like it is the highest quality, and Shadows is not that. And you even have this guy, the executive producer for the franchise, admitting it. He said, I've been there. I remember my first time on Assassin's Creed, like it was July and the game was shipping in October. I was like, there's no way this thing ends up shipping. Oh, 91 Metacritic. Oh, okay, this is good. So I was wrong because it's not good until it is. His comments also come in the wake of Ubisoft delaying the game from its original date of November 15th, which is funny enough today, to February 14th, 2025. I do not think it is smart to release a game on a kind of event day like Valentine's Day. It's not necessarily a holiday, but it's a day people are out and about. They're doing other things. Maybe they're even spending time with their, of course, loved ones or family. I don't think that that's smart. And I didn't think it was smart for Veilguard either to release on Halloween unless you have a game that directly relates to that day. Like Arkham Origins releasing on Christmas because it's set on Christmas. I don't think it's smart to do that. And judging by the rumors that this game is still in a state of disaster, I don't even think it's going to release in February. We also know that they had just recently announced they're completely changing their plans. They had to take away options they were initially supposed to give in things like the collector's edition. They're departing from the traditional season pass model. Now they're saying all players will be able to enjoy the game at the same time on February 14th, so they're taking away that early access. And they, of course, had refunded all of the pre-orders back when it was delayed, which was mighty suspicious because, like, imagine if CD Projekt Red had refunded all of the copies of Cyberpunk 2077. Like, that almost never happens, but now we see why, because it was delayed, because they're taking away some of the initially promised features. And in my opinion, it just seems that this game is in a state of disaster, and Ubisoft's just continuing to basically confirm that. When you have executives saying it's not doing particularly well, you have Ubisoft delaying it and changing kind of all of their plans for launch, like, again, removing the early access and things like changing the season pass model. It just doesn't really look good. Now, obviously, I want every single game that releases to be fantastic. I love video games. I want the industry to do great. But at the end of the day, Ubisoft is just a company trying to chase ESG dollars, and they are more focused on putting a narrative before a genuinely good, high quality experience first. We know that they are very focused on DEI in the workplace and also in the products that they're creating. That's clearly why they decided to go with Yasuke and, paint him as this full-blown samurai, even though historically speaking, he was more of a retainer than a samurai. And it just seems that they are kind of desperate to rejuvenate the Assassin's Creed franchise, which is pathetic at this point because we had been asking for so long for an Assassin's Creed set in Japan, and they put in the least amount of effort possible. And that just to me screams that they are in a state of disaster, that they are at their weakest point right now. And maybe this will come out and it will genuinely be good. But with all of the news we've heard so far, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that way. And when I hear that the team is made primarily of juniors who have never made games and who think the game is in a state of disaster, it doesn't look good. So I'll be keeping my eye on this going forward, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.